If you're heading to the coast on Crawfordville Highway, on the right side of the road, about 2 miles before you hit the intersection with the coastal highway, you'll see a sprawling live oak hanging over rows of perfectly arranged rusty cars, left over from an older generation. And in Wakulla County, it's becoming something of a photographer's destination.
We're actually on the Big Bend Scenic Byway, which is a nationally designated scenic byway, and we have this in our guide as one of the most photographed spots on the byway, which is kind of interesting with all the nature and the St. Mark's Lighthouse and things that people would want to photograph. You would think down here, this is big.
That's Pam Portwood with the Wakulla County Tourism Development Council. Portwood says almost every time she drives by the car, she sees somebody visiting or taking photos. Sometimes it's been wedding parties or high school kids before the prom. And sometimes it's Jeff True, a hobbyist photographer who's lived in the area for almost a decade. True says the old car graveyard is one of his favorite places to photograph.
The cars here actually really sparked my interest one day when I was driving by, as it does a lot of other people. About 7 years ago, I stopped here for the first time, and I've been hooked. I do a lot of art shows, local festivals around town, and my most popular photographs are the ones of the cars.
True says he's gotten to know the cars over the years and noticed how they've changed and aged each time he's come back to photograph them. And Pam Portwood says she thinks that's one of the reasons photographers like the spot, because of the personality the cars have and the stories they could tell. That, and she says there's something kind of mysterious about the place.
You know, I really didn't. I mean, it's always been very curious to me how exactly they got here, how it is that they're all just kind of lined up the way that they are. So I'm really pretty excited that you're doing this because I'm learning as you go.
It turns out the cars, called the Harvey trucks by their owner, all come from the Harvey family farm. They're lined up in chronological order, and for their owner, they're filled with memories.
This is a '59 Ford. That's the one I took my driver's test in. I got my driver's license.
That's Homer Harvey, although he's been called Pat almost since he could walk. The cars and land used to belong to his dad, and now they're his. He says his dad kept the cars for parts, but Pat lined them up because he wanted to see what they looked like next to each other. And now they tell part of the story of Pat's life. There's the first car he remembers riding in, a rusted-out 1941 Ford pickup. And there's the first car he drove, the car he used to take on dates, and his family's first car, a brand-new station wagon. It was painted dark green, and Harvey says it was a nice upgrade from the trucks he'd been riding around in as a boy.
Yes, because all we had was that pickup right there, or either one of the big trucks back that way. We used to ride in the cow body. We'd put a board across there and all sit up there on that board going down the highway. Get a lot of bugs, like a motorcycle without a windshield.
Now Harvey says he's glad for other people to get a chance to enjoy the cars, though he's not quite sure how the place should be classified. It's clearly not a junkyard, but at the same time it's not a museum.
Well, some people say art. There's one lady taking pictures, and all she was taking was the broke windows, the glass. She said that broke glass was art.
But Harvey says there are downsides to making the cars available for the general public to see, too. Just a few months ago, someone stole 4 of the radiators from the cars. Harvey says he assumes they were sold for scrap metal, and he says that's frustrating.
Yeah, it does. Makes me want to just load them up and move them all when I come out and find something missing. But I expected the emblems, and they've already got most of the emblems and pieces of chrome.
And for a while, Harvey thought a local ordinance against keeping junk cars in your yard in public view might mean he'd have to get rid of the display. But Wakulla County Commission Chair Alan Brock says the Harvey trucks have been grandfathered in.
Right, we do have a junk car ordinance where you can't just collect cars in your yard forever, but this family started this well before we passed the ordinance, and they're grandfathered in, so they can stay here forever.
And Brock says the community really does appreciate the Harvey family for letting everyone enjoy their historical collection.
Yeah, oh no, and Wakulla County is really glad to have this opportunity to have these cars here, because really it brings people to Wakulla, and every time I drive by there are people outside taking pictures.
And Harvey says he's glad for the chance to share it. He says he likes to think his son will take over caring for the space for him when the time comes, just like he did for his own dad. So both the cars and the memories will stay here on the Harvey farm. For Dimensions, I'm Regan McCarthy.